Essentially, the vegan ideology can be used as a vehicle to usher in globalism and globalist policies.
Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. So it seems like lately it's been a trend amongst mainstream media and not so mainstream media to attack and try to debunk veganism. And the latest to add to this list is InfoWars. Yes, that alternative facts, alt-right news source. InfoWars, and in particular, the reporter here, Millennial Millie, who of course had to rely on just dumb myths that I've debunked time and time again on this show, but of course being from InfoWars, she put a unique alt-right political spin on it.
Most vegans that I've talked to actually acknowledge the fact that they could not live and sustain a vegan diet if it weren't for global trade and the fact that they have access to fruits and vegetables that are produced on other continents.
Well, first of all, her whole claim that veganism depends on global trade is plainly false, as I'll show you in a second. And you might be wondering, why is she even bringing this point up in the first place? Because InfoWars is highly against nations trading with other nations, globalization. They're really against that. And she says she spoke to all these vegans who said that they depend on other nations to supply them food. Yet she didn't show any of these other vegans other than Earthling Ed, who said nothing of the sort.
I couldn't tell you what seasonal fruit and veg and if I could do it all year round, but I don't have to worry about that because we can sustainably live by getting foods from different parts of the country and from different states. We can get avocados from California and take them to Cleveland, and that's fine, and we can do that sustainably as well.
So basically you admit that the entire premise of veganism is based on having globalization.
No, Ed did not admit anything of the sort. He didn't say that global trade is necessary for veganism to exist. Not even close. Let's rewind the tape there again, Millie. Listen very closely.
Because we can sustainably live by getting foods from different parts of the country and from different states. We can get avocados from California and take them to Cleveland, and that's fine, and we can do that sustainably as well.
So let me spell this out for Millie, because Ed did not admit to globalization here. He's talking about shipping avocados from California to another state, Ohio. All of this is in the United States. There's no global shipment, no international borders being crossed. Yet, you just don't listen to him and you keep on repeating your same BS argument.
If we didn't have globalization and global trade, you could not actually sustain yourself off of a vegan diet if you only had the local produce that was seasonal available to you in this northern region.
Well, since you're showing North America as the northern region, where I happen to live in California, you're just full of crap here. I mean, watch any of our vlogs where we go to our local farmer's market. None of the food is shipped from outside the state, let alone outside the country. We could live on that year round. Of course, in the wintertime, when there's fewer options, I'd have to eat more grains, more rice, which is grown here in California and throughout the United States, and potatoes, which grow readily in the United States too. So when Millie claims that you have to use globalization to sustain yourself as a vegan to get plants, she is just fully lying. And let's just stop for 1 second and think a bit more about food grown outside the United States, like say bananas, one of my favorites. And it's not like vegans are the primary consumers of bananas. No, non-vegans are. And is Millie so strict in her globalism that she never has banana? I really doubt it. So if she has a banana, or if a non-vegan has a banana, that's okay. Globalism, we don't worry about it. But as soon as vegans eat bananas, oh my God, globalism, it's necessary for imports from other countries to sustain their lifestyle. Well, I doubt that Millie is so strict. I bet she has bananas from time to time, because when I look over on her Instagram, I find all sorts of products from overseas that she has no problem showing off. For instance, she's very excited about her new Lumix GH4 camera. And I have a Lumix GH3 camera, which I'm actually filming this on right now. And if you look at the side of the box, these things are made in China. Some shoes that she bought for her baby, Converse, which are all made overseas in Asia. And here's a shot of her on the Alex Jones show, her boss's show. And if you notice, they're using some microphones, which happen to be the exact same make and model of microphone that Alex Jones himself uses. And these are a particular make of Electro Voice mics. And if you go over to the Electro Voice website and look where these mics are made at, they are manufactured in China. I can hear an InfoWars supporter firing back, well, all electronics are manufactured overseas these days. So not true. One of my favorite microphone brands, Wonder, manufactures all their microphones here in the United States, but Alex Jones couldn't be bothered to get theirs.
A vegan talking point is that less farmland will be used if we actually cut off all meat production and we switch 100% to vegetable grain crops.
Well, really? Well, now she's going to have to resort to lying because it's a well-known fact, not some kind of crazy liberal, vegan, left-wing agenda conspiracy theory, that in the same square footage, you can produce way more pounds of food, way more calories of food than you can of meat. I'm talking about plant-based food rather than meat. And in addition, because of that, it's far less polluting to have a vegan diet. Way less carbon dioxide, way less water used, and far less land is needed.
All the grain that's used in this country alone could feed 800 million humans, which means we could eradicate world hunger with just the grain that's fed to animals in this country alone.
Well, here's how that's actually not necessarily the case.
All right, this ought to be good.
With our current global population, you'd have to essentially take all of the arable land, all of the good farmable land, and turn it into agricultural land for the production of crops and vegetables.
I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's irrefutable what Ed said there. We grow enough grains in this country to feed our population several times over. So we stop feeding the grains to cows and other livestock. We'd have plenty of food, more than enough food, and enough land to do it because we're already using all that land to produce all the grains for cattle. And this model works true anywhere in the world. You could feed far more people if you were not feeding half of your grains to livestock.
So you would essentially have to destroy the rights of the American people and use eminent domain to seize all of their land in order to work out a global vegan diet-based society.
I mean, that's just pure lies and fear-mongering to freak out your ignorant viewers on InfoWars. I mean, there's already enough land, as I clearly showed, to grow enough food to feed everyone in our country several times over. The only way your crazy apocalyptic scenario would ever be true there is if people were to consume even more meat, because meat consumption requires more resources, more land, and God forbid we went to grass-fed beef, because that requires even more resources, way more land. Yes, you guys in Middle America, you guys would be giving up your homes to eminent domain seizures.
Do we really want to risk letting our domesticated animals become extinct because we just let them go based on some vegan ideology?
So now we're on those same stupid arguments that you hear from anti-vegans. This is one of my favorites. Yeah, if everyone went vegan, what would happen to all those farm animals? All those 70 billion farm animals would be unleashed onto the world suddenly. Well, I'm sick of responding to that one. Let's see how Ed responds.
As the world shifts to veganism, it will be a gradual shift, which means that the number of animals that we breed will obviously reduce accordingly as the number of vegans rises, because farmers aren't going to breed animals they know they can't sell.
So the animals will just disappear.
No, Millie, why don't you listen to what people say to you? He didn't say all cows and pigs and chickens would disappear. As demand for them decreases, as we become more and more plant-based in this world, the supply, the need to raise all those animals will go down and down and down and down. So will cows be extinct at some time? Probably not. I'm sure there'll be some put into rescues or zoos or what have you.
And I believe that obviously morality in many senses is subjective in its purest form, although as humans we do have moral agency, and that's what kind of separates us from wild animals, although wild animals do demonstrate moral agency as well.
Survival of the fittest is the code of animals.
Really, the code of animals. I was not aware that animals followed any sort of code.
So if you want to say humans are animals, humans have the right to eat other animals.
That logic makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. If a creature is fitter than another creature, if an animal's fitter than another animal, it gives that fitter animal the right to eat that other animal. Where do you even pull this right out of? Where do you get this morality from? Let's just see how it makes absolutely no sense. Are we talking about fitter in the sense of like pure strength? Like say a crocodile is way fitter, way stronger than a human. So much so that even a well-armed and experienced hunter can get eaten, has been eaten by a crocodile. So perhaps you're talking about intelligence. So that makes no sense either. If one creature is smarter than another, it doesn't give them the right to eat them. I have an above average IQ, so does that give me the right to eat those who are less intelligent than me, those with a lower than average IQ? Absolutely not. Your logic completely sucks.
But to try to push for the entire population or the entire world to stop eating meat, to shut down all slaughterhouses and ban meat production, is completely too far, too extreme, unsustainable.
Really, veganism is unsustainable. I've heard it all now. That's a whole new low of alternative facts from you guys. Let me show you what's truly unsustainable. Animal agriculture. It's the #1 source of greenhouse gas emissions. It exceeds that of transportation. And what's even worse, methane gases, which are released from cows, are even more powerful than carbon dioxide, about 25 to 100 times more powerful on a 20-year time frame. And water use is just off the charts. It can take up to 2,500 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. And 91% of the Amazon forest destruction is from animal agriculture. So don't tell me that veganism, that growing plants, is unsustainable.
In the developed world, veganism is a luxury diet that many trendy liberals can enact.
A nice ad hominem attack there, calling vegans trendy liberals. When the fact of the matter is, you meet vegans from all parts of the political spectrum, and you say it's out of the reach of people in developing countries. That is just completely wrong. You have no idea what vegan food is. Well, first of all, let's look at this list from Happy Cow, this website for finding vegan restaurants all over the world. And if you look at their top 12 cities here for where the most vegan restaurants are. Look here, near the top, we have Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. We have Sao Paulo, Brazil. We have Mexico City. We have Bangkok, Thailand. And if we want to get down to really impoverished developing countries, once again, we covered this before in a video responding to Brightside's YouTube channel when he talked about what happened if the whole world would become vegan. And one aspect he brought up is how people in poor African countries could never go vegan.
The inhabitants of countries like Burundi, Eritrea, and Zambia don't even have time to think about going vegan. The lack of food and major famine leaves them happy with just about anything to eat.
So they wouldn't be able to get Beyond Meat burgers? Like, is that what he thinks going vegan is? It's like they won't be able to get any chow cheese because they're too poor to buy it? Is that what he thinks vegan food is, all the fancy convenience food? Does this guy do any research whatsoever? I Googled Burundi diet and guess what I found out?
They eat a simple bounty of beans, plantains, bananas, corn, cassava, sweet potato, and peas. Basically the staple foods that you and I are always talking about how we eat.
Yes.
I'm not necessarily pushing for any specific diet.
Funny you say that, Millie, because at the very end of your video, you have this long advertisement for your boss's enzyme product.
Fuel your body with Carnivore, the new digestive enzyme product by InfoWars Life. Digestive enzymes assist in the digestion process and increase the bioavailability of nutrients by breaking down foods.
I mean, this sad commercial just shows what your demographic is facing there at InfoWars, eating a diet way too rich in meat and therefore are constipated and have trouble digesting and processing food. So Alex is really happy to sell you this carnivore supplement, when in reality you could fix that constipation issue and your health by switching to a plant-based diet, a whole food, plant-based, vegan diet. It'll flush you right out, especially if you're eating lots of bananas. And I guess you have to reconcile that you might be buying them from another country perhaps. But I wouldn't worry about it since Alex Jones and Millie here use products from China on the reg to produce InfoWars. So I guess, they're not walking their talk there. Hypocrites, big time. So anyway, post your questions and comments down below. What do you think of this whole notion that veganism is unsustainable unless you import the vast majority of your food from outside your country and make globalism take over as a new world order, yada, yada, yada. Let me know down below. Let me know if you can make your vegan diet, if you do make your vegan diet sustainable and pretty much local. So post your processes down there and share it with everyone else. So until next time, guys, this applies to InfoWars. Keep it carb, baby. Keep it carb.
You're changing your mind again. You've got me spinning circles, spinning round and round, spinning till I'm dizzy, falling to the ground. You've got me spinning circles round